Tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, President Donald Trump addresses the nation on Iran. A primetime speech, a country watching, and a war that has already killed thousands, closed the world's most important oil route, and pushed gas past $4 a gallon here at home. Before he steps in front of that camera tonight, here is everything you need to know. Let's start with the biggest statement President Donald Trump made today, because this one completely flipped the script on everything we thought we knew about where this war was heading. For weeks, the narrative has been, President Trump wants a deal. Iran wants a deal. Talks are ongoing. The 5-day pause on energy strikes is holding. We're getting closer. Then President Donald Trump walks into the Oval Office this morning, signs an executive order, and a reporter asks him point blank, does Iran even need to make a deal for the U.S. to stop?
Does Iran have to make a deal for the U.S. to end its operation in Iran? And
No,
have you spoken?
no.
And have you
Iran doesn't
spoken
have to-
directly? with
Iran
anyone
doesn't
in
have to
Iran?
make a deal. No. Yeah, I've spoken to a lot of people. It's a new regime. They are much more accessible. When we feel that they are, for a long period of time, put into the Stone Ages, and they won't be able to come up with a nuclear weapon, then we'll leave.
Stone Ages. That's the bar now. Not a signed agreement, not a verified nuclear dismantlement, not even a handshake. Just when we feel like they can't build a bomb anymore, that is when the United States walks away. Now, is that good news or bad news? Honestly, it depends on where you sit. If you're a hawk, you love this. No diplomatic compromise, no giving Iran a face-saving exit, just obliterate the capability and leave. If you're a diplomat or an ally, this just made your job 10 times harder. And tonight, at 9 p.m., President Donald Trump is going to speak to the entire nation. Keep that statement in your head when he does. Now here's where it gets really spicy, because President Donald Trump didn't just go after Iran today, he went after America's own allies. The Strait of Hormuz has been closed, or partially closed, for weeks now. Countries that depend on that waterway for oil and jet fuel are getting squeezed hard. The UK, Germany, Japan, nations paying through the nose because of a war they didn't start and didn't sign up for. So what did President Trump post on Truth Social this morning? I'm going to read this to you word for word, because you genuinely cannot make this up. All of those countries that can't get jet fuel because of the Strait of Hormuz, like the United Kingdom, which refused to get involved in the decapitation of Iran, I have a suggestion for you. Number 1, buy from the US. We have plenty. And number 2, build up some delayed courage, go to the Strait, and just take it. You'll have to start learning how to fight for yourself. The USA won't be there to help you anymore, just like you weren't there for us. Iran has been, essentially, decimated. The hard part is done. Go get your own oil.
So will the Prime Minister approve the licences, or is the Energy Secretary running the government?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, legislation has been passed. It's absolutely clear that the quasi-judicial duty under legislation rests with the Secretary.
Now, the UK government called an emergency COBRA meeting today in direct response to the economic impact of this war. Britain's Prime Minister sitting in a crisis room, and President Trump's message to them this morning? Grow a spine and go take it yourself. Whether you love him or hate him, there is no other leader on the planet who communicates like this. And tonight, when President Trump speaks, every allied government in Europe will be watching very carefully for what comes next. But let's talk about the number that hits closest to home for every single American watching this video right now. Gas crossed $4 a gallon today for the first time since 2022. That's not a foreign policy statistic. That's a number you feel every single time you pull up to the pump, and it's directly connected to what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow waterway that roughly 20% of the world's oil passes through. Iran controls it right now, and they know exactly what they're doing. Now, the White House is saying this is temporary. When Operation Epic Fury is complete, prices will drop back to normal. But here's the problem. Nobody in Washington wants to say out loud. Nobody knows exactly when that is. President Trump said today he thinks the U.S. could be done with Iran in 2 to 3 weeks. But he said 4 to 6 weeks 2 weeks ago. Before that, President Trump said the military had already won. The timeline keeps shifting. Meanwhile, oil crossed $100 a barrel for the first time since July 2022. Brent crude hit $103. And Iran is now reportedly charging tolls on ships that want to pass through the strait. Think about that. Iran is literally monetizing the crisis they created. The question every American should be asking tonight at 9 p.m. is simple. When does this hit my wallet, and when does it stop? While President Donald Trump was dropping verbal bombs in the Oval Office this morning, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was at the Pentagon, and he came out with 3 statements that you absolutely need to hear before tonight's address. This was the first Pentagon briefing in nearly 2 weeks, and Hegseth did not hold back.
Well, over the weekend, I had the opportunity to visit our troops fighting in Operation Epic Fury. We were on the ground in CENTCOM on Saturday for about half the day. For reasons of operational security, so those troops are not targeted, the places and bases will not be named. Suffice it to say, the trip was an honor. I had a chance to bear witness, and I witnessed the best of America. I witnessed warriors, a brotherhood of men and women, warriors all, active duty, guard, and reserve, united in their love for each other, their shared purpose, and their commitment to the mission.
Here's what I want to leave you with before 9 p.m. tonight, because I think the biggest story isn't any single statement President Trump made today. It's the full picture of where we actually are. This war started on February 28, 31 days ago. Since then, Iran's supreme leader Khamenei has been killed. Iran's top military commanders are dead. The IRGC has been decimated. Iran has fired hundreds of missiles at Israel, at U.S. bases across the Gulf, and at oil infrastructure across the region. More than 1,100 people have been killed in Iran, over 1,200 in Lebanon, 19 in Israel. 13 American service members have lost their lives. The Strait of Hormuz, which carries 20% of the world's oil, is still essentially closed. Gas is at $4 and climbing. Gulf allies have burned through thousands of interceptor missiles, and the global economy is staring down what the International Energy Agency is calling a crisis worse than the 1970s oil shocks. And yet, today, President Donald Trump said the new Iranian regime is more rational, more accessible, that talks are going well, that it could all be over in 2 to 3 weeks. What does that mean? It means that tonight's address is not just a speech. It is quite possibly one of the most consequential moments of President Donald Trump's presidency. Whatever he says at 9 p.m. Eastern will move markets, shift alliances, and determine whether this war ends or enters its most dangerous phase yet. You need to be watching. That is your complete breakdown. Everything you need to know before President Donald Trump speaks tonight. The no deal needed bombshell, the fight for yourself post that outraged Europe, gas at $4, B-52s over Tehran, Hegseth's ultimatum, and 3 scenarios for what tonight's address could mean for America and the world. Tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, President Donald Trump speaks. We will be back immediately after with the full breakdown and reaction the moment it ends. Hit subscribe right now and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Drop in the comments right now. What do you think President Trump is going to say tonight? Mission accomplished? Escalation? A deal? I read every single comment. This is the biggest night of the Iran war so far. I'll see you on the other side.